Hey, what's happening, guys? Nala with Word in the Hood. It ain't easy, man. It ain't easy. You know, you grow up in the hood, you grow up in the neighborhood, and you know, life is life, man. Life ain't always easy. And you're growing up in the neighborhood, and growing up in the neighborhood ain't easy because you got a bunch of choices to make. You got a bunch of choices because, I mean, in every neighborhood, you have people that are hooked up in the gang, and you have people that aren't, that are also in the neighborhood. You know, we had a lot of people that we hung out with that weren't in the gang. You know, we treated them with respect. We weren't always trying to turn them out either. Not everybody, but there was a lot of them we were trying to turn out. But it ain't easy. It ain't easy for that guy that's not already in the gang. He's got decisions to make all the time. Sometimes it's not a hard decision. Sometimes you got people out there that, you know, they hang out with these guys and it never crosses their mind to join the gang. You know, for whatever reason. You know, deep down inside he might think it's stupid or whatever, but they're his friends. But there's the flip side of that. There might be that guy that is considering it, always considering it, thinking about it, and you know, it's not easy. It's not easy to continue to say no. It's not for me. You know, thinking on a couple things that are pretty written in stone can help make that decision a little bit easier. There ain't no old drug dealers and there ain't no old gangbangers. They've all been down once or twice. I have yet to see a gangbanger or a drug dealer that didn't at some point wind up in jail. Maybe they didn't wind up in jail for, you know, a long period of time or whatever, but I've never seen one that didn't wind up in jail, man. If you know of anybody, hey, I'd like to know about it because, you know, I'm not saying that there ain't that luck, man. But, so, I mean, you got decisions to make every day. Every day in the neighborhood, you got decisions to make, and it ain't easy. You know, especially if you're not already plugged. If you're not already in a gang, you know, you got to be able to say no every day to certain things. I mean, if you're saying, yeah, let's go do some gang banging activity, and you're not in a gang, I mean, you're missing the boat, man. You're just asking for more trouble. When it's all said and done, the reality is, if you are out doing dirt with gangbangers and you're not in the gang, the reality is they're not obligated to back you if something happens. You know what I mean? And you'll be surprised at how heartless some people are, man. And they'll see something happening to you, and in order to save face, they'll be like, "Oh, well, he's not one of us, so I'm not getting involved in that." The decisions are not always easy, man, but you know, you have some things you gotta weigh. You gotta weigh, is this worth it, man? Is it worth it for me to hang out every day and associate with this negativity? And the flip side of that is, what do you want out of life? What do you want out of life, man? If you're not on something, if you don't got goals and dreams, man, then, you know, I don't know what to tell you as far as, you know, what better do you got to do? You know what I mean? It's sorry to say it, but that's the reality. What better do you got to do if you don't have goals and dreams and things that you got to be on? Because I just was listening to a motivational audio. I do that a lot, and it was, if you're not supposed to be there, don't be there. Be where you're supposed to be, but don't be where you're not supposed to be. And that really sunk in, man. If you're an athlete, for example, or you got goals to be an athlete, or anything, man. You play an instrument, and you know you got to be at practice, and you skip practice to go hang out and do some knucklehead stuff. You ain't supposed to be there. You have somewhere else you need to be. And the reality is, you just got to look at what is the benefit one versus the other. I mean, if you're where you're supposed to be, I mean, obviously there's a reason that you're supposed to be there, or there's a reason you want to be there. And sometimes we get called into, or we get sucked into where we're not supposed to be. I mean, it's happened to me many, many times, man. Matter of fact, I had a date, man. It's something that I'll never forget, man. The night I got arrested and went to prison, spent 10 years of my life in prison, I had a date. I was not supposed to be there. I was supposed to be somewhere else. I had somewhere better to be. But I took that somewhere better to be for granted. I took that somewhere better to be for granted and said, she ain't going nowhere. She'll be there when I get back. And I never made it back. So being where you're not supposed to be can really change things just that quick. You know, you got to really think about it, man, because like I said, it ain't easy, man. Sometimes there's things that attract more than they should, and which makes those decisions harder. If I would have really appreciated that I had somewhere to be, it would have probably been a lot easier to make that decision and leave when I was supposed to leave. But I didn't appreciate it. I was taking it for granted. I took it for granted that my girl was waiting for me. I took it for granted because I told myself, well, she'll be there when I get back. And I never made it back because I chose to continue doing the knuckleheaded stuff that I was doing. So it ain't easy, man. Nobody's, don't let nobody lie and say that choosing the right path is always easy, because it's not. Especially if you have all the outside influences of the neighborhood and even friends that are gangbanging and stuff like that, man. It's not always easy, but you do have it in your power to say no and to mean it. I mean, that's the reality. Man up, really man up. You have it within your power to say no and really mean it. It might not always be easy, man, but it is necessary. Find yourself somewhere to be. Always find yourself somewhere to be. Where it is that you want to be, make it a point to be there. Where it is that you need to be, make it a point to be there. Especially if it's on a positive note, man. Don't take life for granted, man. Try to make proper decisions. And it ain't easy, but you can do it. A word in the hood, Nalo here. Talk to you guys later.